In class, we had started the discussion on industry in the working class era in Victorian England, and I ran out of time, so I wanted to make sure that we have a chance to talk a little bit more about it. There's going to be 4 videos of about 9 to 10 minutes each. We did discuss the role of Queen Victoria, that she was a very strong monarch, that she was very much the stiff upper lip, keep calm, and continue on, carry on. And so that's the kind of image that was projected of what is right and what is wrong when you need to act in a situation. We look up to the people at the time would look up to the monarchy to see this is the way that we should carry ourselves. This is what the rules are for right and wrong, what is morally correct, what is morally acceptable, and what is not. And so we saw in Tooth and Claw Queen Victoria. We get a sense of her. And now we're going to have to see how that plays out in London of the 19th century, because she was queen almost throughout the 1800s, and I also talked about with the British Empire being at its largest at this point, again, her way of thinking about class, society, morality gets trickled down to India, Hong Kong, Canada, throughout the world. It's being spread around. And what's going on in London during this time is urbanization. And when we talk about urbanization, we're going to talk about it becomes a megalopolis. Mass transit comes in. It's a magnet for economic and social opportunities. We're going to see more and more pronounced class distinctions, new opportunities for women, although not all of them are very good, squalid living conditions for most. I would even go beyond saying for many, and political machines and ethnic neighborhoods rising up. And when I say ethnic neighborhoods, we have to think of there's not so much immigration into England at this point. It was other parts of England, so northerners or people from different parts of the country moving into London, but also foreigners, because as England expands and colonizes an area, then we get a particular, let's say, Indians who become British citizens can now immigrate to England. So we do start seeing more immigration, and we do see ethnic neighborhoods rising. Within the idea of a city, especially in London, we're going to see new architectural styles, use of space, class diversity, new uses of energy, coal, factories, new cultures coming in, and those reacting with the dominant culture. A new form of individualism, because as the city gets bigger and bigger, we're going to see people have to, kind of figure out who they are in a different way. Crime, violence, corruption coming up, people trying to make new starts, and then the city itself becoming this idea of change and progress. This is present-day London, and kind of looking downstream. So a couple of things that I wanted to point out. One, if you just look, as far as you can see, there's lights. It's a very, very widespread city. And you can also see that there are kind of the ideas of the organic growing up. We see kind of an ornate bridge in the background, and then a very utilitarian one in the front. We see large skyscrapers right next to small buildings. So we see multi-use in several different ways in several different places. And I'm not going to spend lots of time going through the different parts of London, but I just want you to have an idea of how it's building up and how that's going to impact what we see when we are dealing with present-day London quite a bit in Doctor Who, especially the new Doctor Who. This is an aerial view, and kind of starting here, as far as we can see, kind of curving around, all of this is the city of London. And London is not like Jacksonville, where if you live in it, you're just automatically in London. They do have different neighborhoods, and well, actually, in essence, is a little bit similar to Jacksonville, because you would have maybe an area at the south. If you would say, oh, this is Mandarin, if you meet someone, they would say, oh, I'm from Mandarin. That's part of London. Just like our Mandarin, that's part of Jacksonville. Or we could say, I'm from Jacksonville. Oh, where from? Mandarin. Then someone who is from the town of Ealing, for example, would say, oh, I was born and raised in London. I'm from Ealing. Or we're going to see that Donna Noble was born and raised in London, and she's from Chiswick, and it's an area over here as well. At the beginning of the 18th century, so at the very end of the 1700s, you can see that this area in black is the agglomeration of London. That is what was all of the people moving in and the population density. 30 years later, we see it getting quite larger. And then by the 1870s, so within 70 years, pretty much everything within the picture is now populated. And then the big white areas that you see is parts, things that are owned by the crown, that are owned by the queen and cannot be inhabited. So we have huge amount of people coming in a very short period of time. And we'll be following up with our next next PowerPoint dealing with the growth of London.